Let me ask you something. What would you do if you found the perfect deal? A 50-unit mobile home park, below market value, huge upside potential, but you had almost no money in the bank. Would you walk away, or would you freeze up and tell yourself, someday when I have the cash? Because most people would, but that's not what happened here. See, I found the perfect deal that I wanted, and instead of letting it go, I bought it with private money. Not from a bank, not from a hard money lender charging points and paying, from two real people, two very different sources, and we both said yes to a structure that let me close the deal with almost no money out of my pocket. No credit pull, no giant balance in my checking account, just a clear plan, a well-structured pitch, and a belief that the right deal, presented the right way, will attract capital. And in this episode, I'm going to break it all down. How the deal came together, who were the private lenders, what I said that got them to fund it, and how you can use this same approach to unlock deals you don't think you can afford. It's not theory, it's real. And once you see how it works, you're never going to look at money or the opportunities the same way again. Now let's go ahead and dive in. So I'm sitting there one day, and a property manager that I had a really good relationship comes to me. And he says, JD, I have a mobile home park on probate that I believe would be a great fit for you. The problem was I didn't have any money, and I didn't know how I was going to close this. So what did I do? I started taking this mobile home park to tons and tons of banks. And I had read that all I needed to do was take it to a community bank or a regional bank, and they were going to give me a portfolio loan that I could possibly close this deal. No bank wanted to touch this, not with a 10-foot pole. So now I'm sitting here and I'm struggling trying to figure out how can I make this deal work. That's when I started thinking about private money. That's when I started reaching out to friends and family and some of the acquaintances that I had made while going to some of the investor meetups that I attend. Here's what happened. I finally, after numerous phone calls, found a private money lender that was willing to come in at 70%. And still wasn't enough money to get the deal closed, because I started going around, taking it to the banks again, got a private lender that's willing to come in and give me 70%. They still would not touch this deal with a 10-foot pole. So what did I do? Started going out to find another private lender, finding another person. And what I ended up finding was a friend of mine who was willing to come in and offer up 20% more of the deal. So here I am, 10% left on this deal, could not get a bank to finance it, and I ended up going out and getting a private loan to cover the remainder of this property. All of this sounds like terrible, terrible advice. Everybody was telling me not to take this deal. Do not put yourself in this situation. It's never going to work. But here was the thing. I knew if I could close this property that I could turn it into something that was going to make me a lot of money very fast. So I pushed it through. I took the chance. I took a big risk, and it ended up paying off. So let's talk a little bit about how this turned out. Private investor number one, 70%. They were willing to come in. They gave me 70% of the loan at an interest rate of 10% only, with a period of 6 to 12 months total. The 10% was interest only, so I was making that payment every single month. My other private investor or my friend came in and gave me an additional 10% interest on the loan. So basically I am sitting here with a 90% loan over a period of a year, telling both of them they would be completely paid back within 6 to 12 months. Now, I knew that this deal could work, and I knew I could make it happen. I went out, the other loan that I got through a bank, private loan, gave me the remainder. I put it on a 30-year amortization or 15-year amortization. I'm not even sure at this point. It really doesn't matter. The point was I put this in a situation that I knew I could make it happen within 6 to 12 months. The private loan that I did, I took out enough money to go in and help me with the renovations on the first couple of mobile homes. So this was the chain reaction. I go in, I start actually making money from the park, start actually bringing in a lot more money than I thought I was going to. It all started to work out. And during that 6 to 12 month time, what ended up happening was I took this mobile home park from almost nothing and made almost $1 million from this mobile home park that everybody told me to walk away from. That's the power of private money. Those are the situations that you can put yourself in if you are willing to take the risk and if you're willing to actually ask somebody, would you help me out? And if you could take those opportunities and actually run with them, marvelous things can begin to happen in your life. Now think about that. What would that mean for you? How would that change your life? Now let's talk about what private money actually is, because it's one of the most misunderstood tools in real estate. When people hear private money, their mind immediately jumps to hard money lenders. You know, those guys who charge 12% interest, 3 points, and want your firstborn child as collateral. But that's not what we're talking about here. Private money is something entirely different. Private money comes from real people, not institutions. It's relationship-based, not regulation-driven. It's flexible, it's creative, and most importantly, it's accessible once you understand how to approach it. So who are these private lenders? They're not sharks. They're not Wall Street. They're often retired professionals with like a 401k earning 4%. Small business owners with idle cash. Friends or family who you trust but don't want to deal with tenants. Doctors, attorneys, entrepreneurs who want passive income without owning real estate. They're people who want a better return but don't want those headaches. And here's the key. They're not investing in a property. They're investing in you and your plan. Now let me paint the picture for you. Imagine you go to a friend and you say, I've got a deal under contract. I need $100,000 for 12 months. I'll pay you 8% interest secured by the property and you're in first position. If I default, you take the asset. It's not begging. It's not a handout. It's a private business proposition with clarity, security, and terms. And that friend, now they are the lender, a passive investor, a private money partner. And you just became a real estate operator without using your own cash. Now here's the simplest way to remember it. Private money is relationship capital. It's built on trust. It's backed by real assets, and it's driven by the quality of your deal and the ability to communicate it. Banks care about your credit. Private lenders care about your clarity. They want to know, is this a solid deal? Can you execute? Will you keep them informed and protected? If the answer to those things is yes, you'd be surprised how many people are willing to fund your next project. Now that you understand what private money is and why it absolutely crushes traditional financing in certain situations, how do you actually structure one of these deals? What does it look like when you sit down with someone and say, hey, I've got a deal, want to partner? Let me break it down for you step by step. Step 1, find the deal first. Private lenders aren't going to give you money to go look for these opportunities. They want to see real, specific, tangible investment. So before you ask for a dollar, lock up a deal. Even if it's under LOI, even if you're still in due diligence, have something real. When you walk in and say, here's the address, here's the purchase price, here's the rent roll, here's the upside, now you're not just asking for money. You're actually presenting a business case. Step 2, know your numbers cold. Confidence lives in those numbers. That means you've got to know your purchase price, the rehab budget, the projected rent, operating expenses, exit strategy, whether you're going to refi it or sell it, and most importantly, what is the lender's return? You need to show that the deal can support that debt, that you're going to be able to pay them back, leave room for your profit, and if you don't understand the math, let me tell you this, they're not going to trust your plan. Number 3, make the pitch actually simple. This is the heart of the conversation. Don't overcomplicate it. You're not raising venture capital or trying to sell crypto here. Say something like, I've got this property under contract for $500,000. I need $120,000 to close it and renovate it. I'm offering 10% interest-only payments for 12 months, secured by first position on the mortgage. You'll be listed on title and fully protected. If I default, you take the asset. That's clear, it's direct, it's powerful. It shows you're serious, that you're a professional, and that you're trustworthy. Step 4, lock in the terms. This is where private money can get fun because the terms are fully negotiable. You can structure it based on interest rate, length, like 6 to 24 months, a payment schedule, monthly, quarterly, deferred, collateral, something like a mortgage or deed of trust on the property. And sometimes the lender will want interest only. Sometimes they'll defer the payment. Sometimes they'll ask for equity, like 10% of the deal's upside on the exit. That's the beauty of private money. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's a creative conversation between two individuals trying to build wealth together. Now, how fun is that? Number 5, put it in writing. This is where amateur hour ends. You have got to put together a promissory note defining your terms, the mortgage, deed of trust, where the loan will be secured against the property, possibly a joint venture agreement if that's something that you're actually working towards. Make sure to bring in a real estate attorney. Use a title or closing company just like any other deal. Protect yourself and your lender because you're not just doing a deal, you're actually building a track record. And here's the big takeaway. You don't need to be wealthy to do these big deals. You just need the skill to present them and the structure and confidence that they will know that you're the right person and you're going to protect everyone involved. Now, if you bring the deal, know your numbers, and speak with confidence, private money is going to find its way to you. Okay, so let's pause for a second because I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but, and there's always a but. So let me hit you with the 3 most common objections people usually have with private money and how to break through them. Objection number 1, I don't know anyone with money. Let me tell you a secret. You do. You just don't realize it yet. You might think that a private lender means someone that's driving a Lamborghini, but this individual might actually be someone with a self-directed IRA. It could be someone that's got some extra money in their 401k. It could be someone that just got some money from a cash business sale, or they might have equity sitting in their house. The thing is, you never know because they're not flashy, they're not bragging, but they'd love to get a 10% return on their short-term secured investment. So here's the move. Make a list of 10 to 15 people that are in your network. Professionals, entrepreneurs, retirees. Reach out, not to ask for money, but to just say, I'm working on a new investment strategy. Can I share it with you and get your feedback? That will open the door without the pressure and start to build some trust. Objection number 2, what if they say no? Here's the thing, some people are going to say no, and that's absolutely normal. You're not trying to convince anyone. You're simply trying to figure out if there are individuals that will align with your vision, who will believe in the plan and actually want returns. And believe me, there will be. So if someone says no, thank you for listening, and would you mind if I check in again with you in a few months? Done. You planted the seed, you practice your pitch. The real win is you've actually built a skill. Objection number 3. What if I mess it up? You're going to mess it up the first couple of times because that's part of the process. You're actually learning, and that fear is real, and that's why the structure actually matters. You don't raise private money unless you're committed to protecting it. You have to be a good steward of someone else's trust, and that means you've underwritten a deal conservatively, you've communicated clearly, you've set realistic timelines, and you have multiple exit strategies. When you do all those things, you've reduced the risk, you've started building trust, and you're starting to become the kind of operator that people will want to follow with their money. Now let's talk a little bit about positioning, because private money doesn't come from chasing people. It's going to come from showing people what you're worth. Put those deals out there. Let people know what you're actually doing. Because sooner or later, people will start coming to you asking if they could get involved in this deal. Now, how are you going to attract the lenders without begging, convincing, pitching, all of those sort of things? Here's what I'm going to suggest. Share what you're doing, like I just said. Make sure you say, hey, I've got this deal I'm working through. People need to know what you're actually doing. Post a screenshot. Discuss what you're analyzing. If you're walking a property, post that 15-second clip. Actually talk about it. If you're negotiating financing, make sure you share that lesson with someone or share it with multiple people to let them know what you're doing. Again, it's not about showing off. It's about starting to build credibility with individuals so they will actually know what you're doing and have the opportunity to think about it a little bit. You've planted the seed. And hey, I'm in the game. I'm moving and I know what I'm doing. All of those things are going to be very important down the road. Next. Create a simple lender packet or a slide deck. Look, having a slide deck is a game changer. You don't have to have a ton of slides, just who you are, what you're trying to do, what your actual strategy is, put a deal or two example in there, and discuss how they're going to get paid. You even need to tell them how they're going to be protected. Once you have all that put together, send it out. Don't make it a pitch, just something you've been working on, and ask for their feedback. Again, no pressure, just build some awareness. Here's another thing. Be the person that you would actually lend to. Would you lend to someone who's vague, disorganized, if they're unclear about those numbers? No. So be the person who's going to show up prepared and transparent, respectful of timelines, committed to protecting their capital. People will follow the money when there's confidence. You don't chase the capital, you attract it by being the kind of investor that people want to work with. So let's go ahead and bring this home. You don't need to be a millionaire to buy real estate. You don't need perfect credit or a pile of cash to go after those big opportunities. All you really need is a solid deal, a clear plan, and the willingness to ask people right away. It's about alignment between your opportunity and their capital. So here's what I want you to do. Write down one deal type you'd love to do but thought you couldn't afford. Make a short 5-slide deck that will outline kind of your summary or your plan. Reach out to one person this week and say, I've been working on this project, can I run it by you? That's it. Not a pitch, not a close, just a conversation. Because the people who raise private money consistently are not the loudest in the room, they're not the clearest, they're the most structured and the most reliable. So be that person. Now you've got the tools and you got the strategy. It's time to go out here and start actually trying to attract some of this money. I'm JD Allen. I hope you've had a good time. Until next time, keep bouncing.